And so a lot of times when we enter into a space of receiving, we start to mentally run it through this checklist. Things are happening, but it's like, it's just out of reach for you. Well, I got it, but I don't think I worked hard enough for it. Self-worth and what you are worthy of is based on all of the things that heaven needs you to learn about yourself while you are here on earth. Hey everybody, I'm back again and I am setting everyone up so that they can start to live extraordinary lives. So today's talk is helping everyone to understand how to position yourself to receive these daily miracles. This was something I had to learn, so prayerfully, I've taken one for the team so you don't have to, and you can fast track this thing so that you can start to live every day in an extraordinary way. I'm Alicia Johnson, the creator of this YouTube channel, and I'm so excited to be here with you today to help you to understand your self-worth. This was something that many years ago, yes, I've been doing this work for a very long time. Many years ago, I was struggling with feeling the presence of God. I was struggling with feeling that heaven was supporting me. I was just struggling spiritually, mentally, and physically. And what God began to reveal to me and what God began to show me was that I would make progress. And this is not unlike a lot of people. You'll make progress. You'll feel like the stars, the moon, everything has aligned. And then a few months down the road, you're right back where you were or even in a worse space. And that is the worst feeling to have. That is awful because you've tasted it. You've experienced it. You have lived it, the moment where everything was working out. And then you start to question yourself, like, what did I do wrong? How did I get off track? What happened? And it's a continual loop that you keep going through over and over and over again. And I got tired of it. I got tired of it. And one of the things that God began to reveal to me during this time period was that the progress that I would make, the moments that I would feel the real presence of God and really start to feel that things were clicking were the moments that I was most comfortable in that existence. But for some reason, because of years of programming, my lack of self-worth, or I don't even know if deservability is a word, but my ability to feel that I deserve certain things started to take over. And this is what happens to so many people, is that they know that certain things are available because they've seen other people with them. They have experienced being in environments where things are happening, but it's like, it's just out of reach for you. And why is that? And so in order to really experience God on a daily basis, multiple times a day in some very extraordinary ways, you have got to, it's not an option. You have to feel that you deserve it. Most of us have been beaten down so much by society, by the church, by family, by whatever environments you were in, to truly believe these things. No pain without gain. You gotta earn it. Never let people see you sweat. You have to compete. It's a dog eat dog world out here, and all of these things. And so a lot of times when we enter into a space of receiving, we start to mentally run it through this checklist. Well, I got it, but I don't think I worked hard enough for it. Or I know that they worked really hard and I didn't work as hard as they did, so I probably don't deserve it. I know that their family is more connected than my family, so they have the right connection. So what happened to me was just a fluke. It's not going to last. So these are just some thoughts that would come to my mind. What about you? What are some of those thoughts that come up when you feel like you have connected to something, but then you know in your heart of hearts it's probably not going to last because you don't deserve it? Well, today is the day that you get over all that crap, okay? Because today is the day that you learn a new way of living. And this is one of the things that when God taught me this, the game changed. One thing you have to understand on earth as it is in heaven, for everything in the natural, there's a parallel and corresponding occurrence in the supernatural. The fact that I am here on earth, the fact that you are here on earth, the fact that the person sitting next to you is here on earth, the fact that your neighbor is here on earth, the fact that God invited us all back again today, guess what? We all belong. We are all here at this particular time, not because I want you to be here, not because your neighbor wants you to be here, not because your boss wants you to be here, but because God wants us to be here. And one of the things that we have to understand about God is that God does everything decently and in order. Even being parents, when we pack our children up to go to like summer camp or to go away for a weekend or to go on a trip, we as humans, as dysfunctional as we are, as misguided as we can be, as crazy and loony as we can be, we have the wherewithal to pack up in our children's belongings, everything that they need and everything that they could possibly need. Well, I put a raincoat in there just in case it rains. I put an umbrella in there just in case this happened. I put a sweater in there just in case the temperature drops. I put this in there. I put that because you're thinking ahead. How much greater is this journey called life? God knew that when we agreed to come here to earth, that we would need housing. We would need provision. We would need all of the things that our lives required in order to have a successful journey through this thing called life. And so there are just some things in life that you need to stop beating yourself up for. One of the things for me was always fearing that something would happen and everything would fall out of the bottom and I would end up homeless and on the street. Or that, all of these doom and gloom scenarios. And what God began to help me to understand is that God has accounted for every single day of our lives. And because of that, we are worthy. We are worthy of every accommodation that we need individually and collectively to successfully complete this life's journey. So the problem is that a lot of us gauge our needs based on what we see other people needing. And this was something that I had to get in check for myself. For me, the standard kept moving. Like how much house is enough house? What kind of car is enough car? What kind of furniture is nice enough furniture? What kind of jewelry is nice enough? What is nice enough? And your life, all of the accommodations in your life are as unique as you are. And once you put your finger on the pulse of the truth of who God has created you to be, then you are able to determine for yourself, you and God are able to determine how much is enough for you. The problem is that greed consumes so many people that we just go over the top. So you can be dealing with self-worth based on feeling less than who God has created you to be, or overinflating your ego so much that you are now stepping into the realm of gluttony. But there is a happy space for each and every one of us, but it is our responsibility to determine what that is. And one of the gauges that I use for me. For the longest time, my home was one of those things that I was comfortable with, but uncomfortable all at the same time, because I kept feeling like, well, our first home was a townhome. That was a starter home. No, our first space where we lived, it was a condo we were renting. So that was just our beginner, we were just starting out. And then from there, we moved into our townhouse, and that was just a starter home because it was just too small. And then the next home we moved into, which is the current home that we're in, it was a fixer upper. So we were only going to be here for a while to fix it up, and then we were going to move on. But something powerful happened during that fixer upper process. See, we thought that we were just moving into this house so that we could fix her up, flip it, and keep moving. But God had another plan. God has used this house right where we are to help us to understand so many things about self-worth and who God has created you to be. And the first thing that God helped us to understand as it related to this house, and not just a house, but everywhere you go, everywhere you are, every place that your foot trods, you are being represented in that space. God has made accommodations for you, and you are a reflection, and that position that you're in is also reflecting back to you. So this house was not meant just for us to come in and fix it up. This house was also showing us who we were. And this house was one that really helped us to understand more of self-worth. A lot of times we feel that we deserve certain things simply because of the titles that we have, the degrees that we have, the work that we put in. But self-worth and what you are worthy of in God's economy is based on all of the things that heaven needs you to learn about yourself while you are here on earth. So today is the day that you spend time allowing God to help you to see all of the accommodations that God has made. And once God began to help us to see this in the house that we have right here, one of the things that I began to realize is that wherever I am, it's okay. Wherever I am able to bring everything that is needed to that space without having to look outside of myself, get other people's opinions, poll everyone and see things by general consensus and vote. No. If God has placed me there, I am there for a reason, and there is work to be done, and there are things to be had. How much is enough? That's internal. You have to determine that for yourself. So for me, this house initially was just a fixer-upper. But now I'm realizing that this house is no longer just a fixer-upper house. It is now our home. And in this home, we have learned to create the space that we desire. We have learned to pick out the things that we like. I used to have such low confidence and low self-esteem and low worth that I couldn't even tell you what type of furniture I liked. I couldn't even tell you what type of decorations I liked. And I would waste so much money and spend so much money getting other people to help me and to fill my house with their visions that it worked out for a minute. It looked good for a second, but it never felt like home. It didn't feel like my home. And once I started to really get in tune with the truth of who God has created me to be, I started to really understand the things that I like. The way that I like my coffee, the way that I like my jewelry, the way that I like my hair, the way that I like my clothes to fit, the way that I like my makeup to look, the way that I feel most comfortable. But it wasn't until I realized that because God has allowed me to wake up again and God has given me breath in my body, that guess what? I belong here just as much as anybody else. And I am worthy of everything, every accommodation that God has made for me. And guess what? The same applies to you. So today is the day that you begin to really start to feel that you are here for a reason. And the fact that you are here and the fact that God has given you breath in your body, you belong. And because you belong, it is now time for you to start to expect the extraordinary out of your ordinary life. All right. Love you all. And if self-worth is something that has plagued you, if self-worth is something that you want to deal with, we're going to go deeper into this because this is something that so many people deal with. And I've got story after story after story about self-worth and transformation and really moving into an understanding that, yes, I deserve this, not in an arrogant way, but because God has made accommodations for me. So put in the comments about how you feel about self-worth. Do you feel worthy? Is this not even a problem for you? Let me know so we can continue the chat. Love you all. See you next time.